Hi everyone, I hope you all safe and healthy with your family and friends. In this video we are going to learn about 11th Standard Accountancy Chapter 9 Rectification of Error, Illustration Sum number 2. The following errors were detected before preparation of the trial balance. Rectify them. Read the heading carefully that whenever you see the word error is detected before preparation of the trial balance. Okay. So here no journal entry is required. Okay. You have to give the solution that the error, just explanatory note or statement that the error can be rectified in the affected account as whether the concerned account is to be debited or credited. So for that, let's read the first transaction, that is purchases return book is undercast by rupees 500. So you give the solution, you have to give the solution like explanatory note or the statement. See here, the solution is purchases return account should be credited with rupees 500. How you made this solution? How do you find this solution? Let me explain. Listen, what is the transaction tells us? Purchases return book is undercast by rupees 500. Undercast means 500 rupees decreased in purchases return book. This is the error. What kind of error? Error of costing. So, how do you rectify this error? So, you have to purchases return book 500 rupees decreased means you have to add 500 rupees in purchases return book. Okay. So listen here carefully. Undercast, short, less, such kind of word you see in the rectification of error. What method you have to use? You have to use the original journal entry. Okay. Say for example, where is purchases return book appears? Purchases return book will appear in credit side. Okay. Because how do you say? It is the opposite to the purchases account. Purchases account appears on debit side. In opposite, purchases return book will appear on credit side. Okay. So purchases return book is to be credited, right? So the journal entry is, what is the original journal entry? ABC account, for example, ABC account debit of 1000 rupees to purchases return account 1000. Okay. So where is purchases return book appears? It is appears on credit side. Okay. Vice versa, XYZ account debt of 500 rupees to purchases return account 500 rupees, because purchases return book is opposite to the purchases book. Purchases account is debited, but purchases return book will appear on credited. Okay, like that. How do you post it into the ledger account? So in ledger account, under the heading of purchases return book, where is the purchases return account? It is on credit side. So in credit side, the opposite, which account is opposite to the purchases return account? ABC account and XYZ account, right? So on credit side you have to write by ABC account 1000 rupees and XYZ account 500 rupees. This is the original journal entry. Okay. So then we have to find the total. Which side has the higher value? Of course, credit side has the higher value, debit side no value. Okay. So how much rupees credit side have? It has 1500 rupees, right? So the higher value you have to write, consider as the total, and the total you have to enter it on the both debit and credit side. So we enter 1500 and 1500 as a total on both the side. We entered. Then we need to find out the closing balance of the purchases return account. So on lesser side, we have to write the difference value, that is 1500. We return it on the debit side. Okay. Then against this we have to write closing balance, that means to balance carried on, which means this is the closing balance of the purchases return account, isn't it? Okay, then you have to brought it to the opposite side and enter 1500 below the total, and against this 1500 you have to write by balance drawdown. This is the opening balance of the purchases written account. Listen here carefully. Where is purchases written account appears? Purchases written account appears on credit side, right? So purchases written account should be credited. Okay, listen here. What is the question? Purchases written book is under cost by 500 rupees. So 500 rupees decreased in purchases written book. So we have to, how do you rectify this error? You have to create the suspense account to rectify this error. Okay, so you have to write the original journal entry. Listen here, to rectify the error you have to, where is the purchases written book? Purchases written book is on credit side. How much rupees? 500 rupees. Okay, so to purchases written account 500 rupees we entered. What is the opposite account? We have to create suspense account to tally it. Okay, to balance it. Okay, so suspense account debt of 500 rupees to purchases written account 500 rupees. Okay, so where is purchases written account? It is on credit side. So the answer is purchases written account should be credited with 500 rupees. Listen here, then what you have to do? You have to post it into the ledger account. Where is purchases written? Written account, it is on credit side. So written, you go to credit side. The opposite account name is suspense account. You have to write by suspense account 500 rupees entered on the credit side. Okay, then everything will be changed. How do you say? You have to, now you have to add that 500 rupees because purchases written book is undercast 500 rupees, right? So how do you rectify it? You have to add this 500 rupees. Now you have to add this 500 rupees on credit side. Okay, so how do you get? Listen here. So 1000 rupees plus 500 plus 500, how much total? 1500, 2000 rupees. Okay, so here also we have to change the total, that is 2000 rupees. Okay, then here also the closing balance also will be changed because the question is 500 rupees under cost. So we rectify that error. So you have to add that 500. So how much the closing balance? 2000 rupees. Okay, then you have to brought it down to the below the total to the opposite side, that means credit side. This is the opening balance of the purchases written account. Okay, now we rectified the error, that means purchases written account should be credited with rupees 500. Got it? Okay. So listen here, what is the solution? Purchases written account should be credited with 500 rupees. Okay, got it? Then the next transaction is purchases written book is over cost by rupees 600. What is the solution? Purchases written account should be debited with rupees 600. How do you get this answer? I will explain you. Listen, purchases written book is over cost by rupees 700. So over cost means what? Increased, 700 rupees increased in purchases written book. This is the error. So listen, more 100 rupees instead of 200 or 700, excess, over cost. Like this word you see in the rectification of error, you have to follow opposite journal entry. Okay, what kind of error is this? This is the error of costing. Okay, say for example, where is purchases return book shows? Purchases return book shows on credit side, right? So overcost means you follow the opposite journal entry. So opposite journal entry means you have to show purchases return book is on debtor side. Okay, let's see. Say for example, in original journal entry, purchases return account is to be credited. So PQRS account debtor 1302, purchases return account 1300 rupees. And the second journal entry is ABC account debtor 200 rupees to purchases return account 200 rupees. Where is purchases return account shows? It appears on credit side. Okay, this is the opposite to the purchases account. Purchases account is debited and purchases return account is to be credited, right? So how do you post it in on the ledger account? On ledger account and purchases return account, it is to be appear on the credit side. Okay, so because purchases return account is on credit side, you also post the purchases return account on the credit side. In credit side, you have to write the opposite entry, opposite account. So what is the which account is to be opposite here? So PQRS is the purchases return opposite account is PQRS. Okay, from the purchases return account, ABC account is the opposite account from the purchases return account. So you have to enter on credit side by PQRS account 1300, by ABC account 200. Okay, then two accounts are entered, posted into the ledger account. On which side is higher value? Of course, credit side has the higher value. How much rupees? 1500 rupees. Okay, so you have to enter that 1500 rupees as a total on both debit and credit side. Okay, which side has the lesser value? Credit side. The difference value, the differences you have to enter on the lesser side, which means debit side, and against this you have to write to balance brought, carry down. This is the closing balance of the purchases return account. Okay, then you have to brought it down to the opposite side, that 1500 rupees you have to brought it down to the opposite side and enter the 1500 below the total. Against this you have to write by balance brought down. This is the opening balance of the purchases return account. Where is purchases return account shows? It appears on credit side. Okay, this is the original ledger account and journal entry. Example for the journal and ledger for the purchases return account. Listen here, remain here. What is the question? What is the transaction? Tells us purchases return book is overcost by 700 rupees. So purchases return account shows 700 rupees increased. This is the error. So you have to subtract that 700 rupees. Okay, how do you rectify this error? To rectify this error, overcost means you have to follow the opposite journal entry. Overcost more excess. This kind of word you have seen in the rectification of error. You should follow opposite journal entry. So listen, to rectify this error, you have to follow the opposite journal entry. That means purchases return account debtor to suspense account. You have to create the suspense account here to tally the trial balance. Okay, where is purchases return account appears? On debit side. To rectify this error, you have to follow the opposite journal entry. Okay, so purchases return account debtor on debit side you have to enter the purchases return account, right? So on ledger account debit side you go to debit side. Which is the opposite account? Suspense account. Okay, how much rupees? 700 rupees, because 700 rupees is increased here, over cost here. So you have to write the 700 rupees. You have to create the suspense account here, and you have to follow the opposite journal entry. Okay, so on ledger account on debit side you have to write two suspense accounts 700 rupees. Okay, what you have to do here for 700 rupees? You have to subtract it, because 700 rupees is over cost, that increase that. So to balance the trial balance, to tally the trial balance, you have to subtract the 700 rupees here. Okay, so everything will be changed here. So you have to find the differences you have to subtract the 700 from 1500. You will get 800 rupees. Okay, so this is the closing balance of the purchases return book. Then you have to brought it down to the opposite side below the total. You have to strike out the 1500 and you have to write 800 rupees here, because we have rectified that error. Okay, so the opening balance of the trial purchases return account is 800 rupees. Okay, so we debited the purchase. What is the answer? Purchases return account should be debited with 700 rupees. Okay, so listen here. In rectifying the error, purchases return account should be debited. Okay, how much rupees? 700 rupees. So purchases return account should be debited with 700 rupees. We rectified that error. Okay, let's see the next transaction, that is sales return book is under cost by rupees 700. Under cost means what journal entry you should follow? You should follow the original journal entry. Under cost, short, less, this kind of word you seen in the rectification of error, you will follow the original journal entry. Sales return book, where is sales return book? Sales return book shows sales account appears on credit side, in opposite sales return book shows on debit side. Okay, so sales return book shows on debit side. Under cost means we follow the original entry. Listen, so under cost means 700 rupees decreased. This is the error. 700 rupees decreased in sales return book. So you have to rectify this error. You have to add the 700 rupees. Then the error will be rectified. So sales return book will shows on debit side. Okay, so you should follow the original journal entry. Then the error will be rectified. The answer is sales return account should be debited with 700. Okay, do you understand? I will explain you with some example. So what is the question? Sales return book is under cost rupees 700. Under cost means 700 rupees decreased in sales return book. Okay, this is the error. Okay, how do you rectify this error? Decreased means you have to add 700 rupees in sales return book. Then the error will be rectified. So you will see under cost, less, short, like this word, you have to follow the original journal entry. What is the original journal entry? Where is sales return book account appears? Sales return book is return book or sales return account will appear on debit side. How do you say in journal? Where is sales account appear? Sales account appear on credit side. So sales account is to be credited and sales return account should be debited, is to be debited. Okay, so let's see the two examples. sales return account data 100 rupees and LMN account 100 rupees. Okay, this is one example journal entry, and the another sales return account example is sales return account data 200 rupees and RST account 200 rupees. So this is the original journal entry for the sales return account. How do you post it on the ledger account? Where is sales return account shows? It appears on debit side. So you go to debit side on ledger account, which is the opposite account from the sales return account, LMN account and RST account. Okay, how much rupees? 100 rupees and 200 rupees. So on debit side you have to write the opposite account name, LMN account 100 rupees, and to write RST account 200 rupees. We enter the two sales return account here. Okay, then we have to find out which side has the higher value, debit side or credit side. Debit side has the higher value. How much rupees? 100 plus 200, 300 rupees higher value. Okay, so we have to consider that 300 rupees is the higher value. That you have to enter the higher value as a total on both sides. So we have to enter the 300 rupees on to consider as a total on both debit and credit side. Okay, then we have to find out the balance, closing balance of the sales return account. So the difference value you have to enter on lesser side. Against this you have to write by balance carried on. This is the closing balance of the sales return account. Okay, then you have to draw that 300 rupees to the opposite side and enter that 300 rupees below the total. Against this you have to write to balance drawdown. So this is the opening balance of the sales return account. Listen here carefully. Where is the sales return account shows? Sales return account is appear on debit side. Okay. So sales return account should be debited. Okay. Listen. What is the transaction? What is the question? Sales return book is under cost rupees 700, right? So here before we discussed about the original journal entry, examples of the original journal entry and the examples of the original ledger account. Okay, let's see. Now you come to the point. Sales return book shows 700 rupees decreased. Okay, how do you this is the error. How do you rectify this error? This is the error of costing. How do you rectify this error? So 700 rupees less, it shows decreased. Okay, so you have to add this 700 rupees, then only the error will be rectified. So to rectifying this error you have to follow the original journal entry. So original journal entry means sales account debtor. Sales account should be debited, right? Sales return account should be debited. Okay, so then what is the opposite account? You have to create suspense account to tally the trial balance. Okay, to tally the account you have to use the suspense account. You have to create the suspense account. Two suspense account 700 rupees. Okay, so this is the original journal entry. Then where is how do you post it on the ledger? Where is sales return account? It is on debit side. What is the opposite account? Suspense account. So on ledger account debit side you have to write the opposite account name, that is to suspense account. How much rupees? 700 rupees. We entered here. Now what we have to do? 700 rupees is under cost here, right? So you have to add this 700 rupees, then only it will be rectified, balanced. Okay, so now you have to add the 700 rupees here. Now everything will be changed. So how much rupees you get to add the 700 rupees? 700, 800, 900, 1000 rupees. Okay, so you have to strike out that 300 rupees, then you have to write 1000 rupees. Okay, down Here also closing balance also change, total will be changed, closing balance will be changed. Okay, we have added that 700 rupees here, then the opening balance will be also changed. Okay, we added that 700 rupees. Now the error will be rectified. Okay, so what is the solution? Sales return account should be debited with 700 rupees. Which side the sales return account will be shown? It shows on debit side. Okay, so sales return account should be debited with 700 rupees. Do you understand? Okay, let's see the next transaction, that is sales return book is overcost by rupees 800. Okay, listen, overcost means 800 rupees increased in sales return book. This is the error. Sales return book shows 800 rupees increased. Okay, so which method you have to follow? You have to follow the opposite method. Overcost means you have to subtract that 800 rupees, then only it will be, the error will be rectified. Okay, listen, overcost 800, sales return book is overcost by rupees 800 means 800 rupees increased in sales return book. This is the error. How could you rectify it? You have to follow the opposite journal entry. Overcost means overcost, more, excess. This kind of word you see in the transaction, rectification error transaction, you will follow the opposite journal entry. Okay, then you have to, overcost means increased, so you have to subtract that 800 rupees. Okay, listen here, what is the solution? Sales return account should be credited with the 800. Okay, in general, what is the original journal entry for sales return book? Sales return book is appear on debit side. Okay, sales account is to be credited and sales return book is to be debited. Okay, isn't it? But you have seen overcost means you have to follow the opposite journal entry. What is the opposite for sales return book? Sales return book is debited. In opposite journal entry, sales return book will be credited. Okay, I will explain you with the example. Okay, listen, so I will give given here two examples of the sales return account. In general, the original journal entry sales return account will be debited, is to be debited. Okay, sales return account debtor 2000 rupees to XXX account 2000 rupees, and another journal entry for sales return account is sales return account debtor 1000 rupees and to YY account 1000 rupees. This is the original journal entry. How do you post it into the ledger account? Where is the sales return account shows it is on debtor side. So in ledger account debtor side, you have to write the opposite account, that is XXX account 2000 rupees and YY account 1000 rupees. Okay, so what you have to do? You have to find out the higher value. Which side has the higher value? Debit side has the higher value. How much rupees? 2000 plus 1000, 3000 rupees. Okay, so that 3000 rupees is considered as the total, and that total you have to enter it on the both debit and credit side. Okay, then what you have to do? The difference value, the difference amount you have to enter into the lesser side. Against this you have to write by balance carried on. So this is the closing balance of the sales return account. The closing balance of the sales return account is 3000 rupees. Then that 3000 rupees is brought it down to the opposite side and enter the 3000 rupees below the total. Okay, against that 3000 rupees you have to write to balance brought down. This is the opening balance of the sales return account. So Where is sales return account shows? Sales return account shows on, appears on debit side, isn't it? Listen here. This is the original journal entry. Examples of the original journal entry for the sales return account, and this is the original ledger account for the sales return account. Okay, but what is this transaction tells us? This transaction tells us sales return account overcost by 800 rupees. So sales return account in 800 rupees increased in sales return account. Okay, so overcost means you have to rectify this error. This is the error of costing. To rectify this error, you have to follow the opposite journal entry. Okay, what is the opposite journal entry for the sales return account? In original journal entry, sales return account shows on debit side. In opposite, to rectify this error, in opposite you have to write the sales return account on credit side. So sales return account is to be credited. How much rupees? 800 rupees. The given 800 rupees we have entered here. Okay. Then what is which is the opposite account is? You have to rectify this error. You have to use the suspense account. You have to create the suspense account for 800 rupees. Okay. So we created. Okay. Now how do you post it? Where is sales return account appears? It appears on credit side. So in ledger account, you go to credit side, you have to write the opposite account from the sales return account. What is the opposite account? Suspense account. So you have to write the suspense account 800 rupees on credit side. Okay, we entered 800 rupees on credit side. Listen here. What is the answer? Sales return account should be credited with 800 rupees. So sales return account should be credited with 800 rupees. Now what we have to do? It shows 800 rupees increased. So how do you rectify? We have to subtract that 800 rupees on sales return account. Okay. So how now everything will be changed. Now we have to subtract that 800 rupees with the total. How do you get? You will get 2200 rupees, right? So you have to write 2200 rupees. You subtracted that 800 rupees, and here also will be changed 2200 rupees. Okay, so now you can say sales return account should be credited with 800 rupees. Do you understand? Okay. Do you have any doubt? Please comment it on the comment box. Thank you. Take care.